I need to clarify and be clearer and explain better the paradox that I shared yesterday. Briefly, we avoid emotion. That's life. That's what alcohol is. That's what drugs is. That's what entertainment is. We avoid negative emotion, thinking that intuitively that's the best solution. Run away from it. Stay away from it. And then you'll be protected and you will be safe and you won't have them. That's what we do because that's what we learn intuitively. If you don't like the heat, leave it. If you don't like the cold, leave it. That's how we're taught. Now, the reality of life is if you do that, then you'll never be able to tolerate the kitchen. If you do that, you'll never be able to be in the cold swimming pool. Let me explain it a drop better. If you want to go into a swimming pool that's cold, right? In the summer, you stick your toes in and the pool's cold. What is the solution? Well, if you avoid the cold pool, you're never going to have the joy of swimming. So if you avoid the cold pool, there's no swimming. So what is the solution? You go against logic. You do something that's counterintuitive. You go into the cold pool. What? You don't want to have a cold pool. You don't want the cold. You jump into the cold. But that's backwards. Shouldn't you run away from the cold? Because this you were taught without giving you the explanation so you can then apply it to other areas of life. You were specifically taught in certain areas of life how it works. If you jump into the cold swimming pool, then you have the freedom of swimming. So you don't think and say, oh, that doesn't make sense. You just know you were taught by your parents, that's what you do, you jump in. And therefore you have the luxury of swimming. And you never understood it to be able to then say, oh, I could use this in other areas of my life. Because wherever specifically you were not taught, you don't know. Therefore, there are many areas of life, like swimming pools and mosquito bites, that we already know how to deal with because we were fed, spoon-fed, that in those situations you stick with the discomfort. But then all the other areas of our life in our minds, nobody ever shared with us what's going on in their mind, how they dealt with their emotion, and therefore you never learned it. And that's what I'm here to teach you. We're going to talk about the uncomfortable ideas of what goes on in your mind and how to deal with it. But let's use this example. What happens? You arrive at a cold swimming pool and you want to swim. So you already know, jump into the pool and then you'll be able to swim. What happens? How does it happen that you could now swim? How does it happen that it's not colder anymore? Think about it for a second. Does the pool get warmer? No. If you check the thermostat that's hanging by those steps in the pool, or the little ducky floating in that pool, you will see that the temperature is exactly the same. So why are you not cold? Does your body become colder? No. Your body temperature stays the same. Really? So your body's temperature stays the same, the pool temperature stays the same. Why could you now swim? Why is it not cold anymore? Listen, this is the key to understanding how to manage your emotion. And then I'll break it down in later videos so you can actually apply it in your life so you don't just stay with the aha and the idea. So you go into a cold swimming pool. And what happens is your brain says, it's cold. And you ignore it. You stay in the pool. Your brain might say a second time, hey, it's cold. Get out of the pool. And you ignore it a second time. Then it might say it a third time, it's cold. Get out of the pool. Now, if you ignore it again, you know what happens? Your brain says he or she is not listening anyways. So let's stop telling them it's cold. And your brain stops telling you that noise, that message that the pool is cold. And now you have the freedom to swim and enjoy yourself. Again, your brain gives you the message it's cold because it's telling you to get out of the pool. If you ignore that message and you continue facing the discomfort, your brain stops giving you the message, and now you are emotionally free. When your brain tells you to be anxious, to be frustrated, to be depressed, it's simply giving you a message that you need to be anxious, depressed, frustrated, and we're going to talk in later videos what those messages are, because there is a language to emotions. Now, to all of you, most likely, it's a secret language, but you'll learn it. Every emotion is simply telling you something. So your brain is telling you it's cold. You're anxious, you're frustrated, you're depressed. And if you ignore that noise, now what does that mean? I'll teach you how to do this stuff. Just listen to the idea. If you ignore the stuff, your brain stops giving you the message, and you could turn off any negative emotion you choose to, and therefore live a life that you desire and both know you deserve. I urge you, please like and share these videos so we can make a massive difference and eliminate the $42 billion budget that this country spends a year just on anxiety.